Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Camp Conversations. I'm your host, Chelsea Bresnahan, and today's guests include 42-year U.S. military veteran Jack Arnouts and his wife, Debi.
Okay.
Welcome to Camp Conversations.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Yes,
And
nice to meet you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and thanks for inviting us.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Matt said that you guys were on the top of the list
The top of the list.
to be guests here on the podcast.
Which list was that?
A list of people that would speak highly, perhaps, of Camp Freedom.
Well, yes, I can't say enough about Camp Freedom. It's been terrific for me.
Sure. And
Yeah.
you found Camp Freedom, 18 months ago, you said?
18 months ago, it's when I first finally broke down through the barrier and came to see what it was all about. I'd actually heard about it about 3 years ago through the American Legion. But like most veterans, you're a little withdrawn and don't really want to put yourself out there right away. And so you take a back seat to it, you hear about it, but it's hard to step into a new environment that you have no knowledge of or no experience with. And so it took a little while to get here.
I don't remember. Did you come alone the first time or were you with someone?
I came with Eric. Eric's my wingman.
Oh, okay.
In the Air Force, we have a wingman is for support. And, most of us have various issues when we come out of the service, either disabilities or some mental issues maybe. And we always, even when we're in service, we have a wingman, somebody that is always looking out for you. So he might be my wingman, but I was also his wingman. And so you tend to team up, and it's part of the brotherhood,
It's support.
and support, whether it's emotional, task related. In the service, it was always mission related, and you made sure that the person was always in good state of mind, that they were prepared for the work or whatever you were about to face, and that you remained healthy and and ready for action. And in the post-war period, they become again the person who is there for you when things get tough or things are not right. They're right there. There's never a hesitation. They always step forward. They'll be next to you in a moment and provide whatever support that they can to make sure that you get through whatever the event is at the time, to make sure that you come out of it well and that you stay, in good shape.
And now you have a few thousand wingmen on your
Yeah.
side
Yeah.
now that you're here.
And then I come to Camp Freedom, and there's a wingmen all over the place. So it's been great. Very, very comfortable environment. And I think that's the barrier that you have to cross, that first moment, that first step where you come across. And it's a little scary, And you walk in, and these folks here are just fabulous. They're just fabulous. Some of them are veterans, some of them are not. But even the ones that are not veterans have worked with veterans so long, they understand what's going on. And that's always the biggest barrier. A veteran can't talk normally to a regular person. They have no reference to understand what has impacted you through the years that you were in the service. First responders do. There are others, in similar fields. Police, for example, firemen. They say that these are people that all run towards danger and not away from it, And so they have some relationship there, some bearing reference that when they talk to you, they can understand where you're coming from.
There's a lot of the incidents that Jack went through that he can't communicate with me even. And I've been with him for more than 58 years. And still, there are things that are just either too painful or restricted, not to be discussed with outsiders. And other issues that for whatever reason he's not sharing. But when he comes here, he can. Either with one person, one on one, just sitting together and taking a side, and things are going on, and they'll discuss it, and he can get that out. Whereas usually that stays all inside. So as a result of that, things are better for him overall in his life, and it comes back with him after he leaves here. That it's just, it's okay. I've taken care of it, and now I can move forward. And that's all. That's my goal in life, is always moving forward. Past is you just don't want to go back. And now we can go forward and do a lot of things that we want to do. And that's been tremendous.
Yeah, the big advantage here is if I get into a discussion with somebody here, it doesn't require a background explanation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to sit there and say, well, do you know what it feels like to be there in this type of situation? Or have you ever been in this type of a situation? Most people haven't, if you're a civilian. Nobody's ever taken a shot at you when you're a civilian, or tried to blow you up, or some other horrible thing. And so when you break down into a conversation here, none of that is necessary. And so we find that we do very little talking about military, because we know. You don't have to tell me about it. I'm quite well aware. The difference is that we can talk about other things, knowing that these things are in our background, and we might avoid certain subjects. Certainly doesn't require any clarification. And so you tend to talk more about normal things in life, and especially here, it's like, wow, I always wanted to go fishing, and I never went fishing in my entire life. And so when I came to Camp Freedom, they said, well, what do you want to do? Let me think about that. How about fishing? And so what do we talk about when we're here? Fishing. That's what we talk about. We don't talk about the other
You
stuff.
found your fishing group. That's why.
I did. Yeah.
Yes. The first time he came home from fishing, it was like a little kid. I caught my own fish. I did this, and I did that, and I did this. And it was joyful to see how much joy he found in a simple little thing. I personally don't fish because it doesn't come out of the lake filleted already and on a plate. So I won't. But that's an active. Jack and I have been together for so many years that we do so much together. We have common ground. But this is something that I want him to do for himself. And he enjoys doing for himself. I don't have to be with him. And I don't have to follow him around or anything. Not that I do, but I don't walk 6 paces behind. But it's something that he just accepts and does, and goes and gets the equipment and does everything for it and looks forward to every month, which is something that I don't know if you've done that for a while. Look forward to something every month.
No, it's been a long time.
When the kids were little, we have 3 children. When the kids were little, it was always something to do every day.
We did a lot of outdoor activities.
And but now it's slowed down, and this is something that's picking him up again.
Yeah.
Especially when he almost falls in the river and somebody's behind him and grabs him to pick him up.
Yeah, a lot of us have disabilities, and my major disability is that I'm old. And so when I'm walking through the woods to get to like the edge of the river or something, that's a tough deal for me. So what do? The fishing guys all get together and they remove all the branches and all the things I might trip on as kind of like a volunteer work day. And then the next time I go out, there are guides that go with me, like Mike or Doc. Doc's always with me. He watches out for me. He's like a guardian angel. And I love the guy, and he is a special, but all of these people are very special. Mike as well. But they always make sure that they're there with me, that I get there safely, that I'm able to fish. They give me the guidance I need in order to catch a fish, because it's all new to me. And they make sure that I stay safe while I do it. And it would be the first time, vertigo is one of the problems I have. I look at the water's going by, and the next thing I know, I'm trying to go for a swim. And then I'll feel this big hand come from behind me and grab my shirt and pull me back and say, "No swimming today, Jack." you know. So that's a security thing for me, because, wow, why wouldn't I go fishing? Because I might not come back. So, it's nice to know that there's somebody there.
I would also say that these guides and the people here at camp help you and support you in a way that doesn't make you feel like you need that help.
No, that's right. Yeah, they're more your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would classify them like a wingman. Okay, except I have lots of them now. We just pointed that out. I always had one wingman, but now I've got a dozen of them, or maybe more. And they're just regular guys that just understand what's happening in the background. And again, no explanation. And so, we talk about the things that we want to talk about. And that relationship becomes very strong. There's already a tremendous bond between veterans. We're all brothers and sisters. We've all been through the same thing. We all survived the same thing. And so all this does is reinforce it. And then along come these folks from Camp Freedom, and they step right into the middle of it, and it's like they've been there forever. They don't make you feel like you're in therapy or, we're here to help you or that sort of thing. I say I have two guides that go with me. I know that they help me when I'm out there, but they don't give me the feeling that that's the reason they're out there, because they brought fishing poles with them. Okay. And we're all out there just to fish and chat and get excited when somebody catches a fish or, whatever happens.
It's also a situation where you don't have to be guarded. When you're talking to other people who've not been there and not had that experience, you have to be very guarded in what you say and how you say it, because they obviously, especially these days, could take it totally the wrong way. Even with me, Jack's always been guarded in what he's said to me because he has to be, but not here. Unless they're a family, which is welcome all the time. We came here once without anybody else just to let my grandsons fish. They provided the equipment for them and the fishing poles, and they welcomed us. We didn't feel like we were trespassing or using someone else's pond, and they had a great time. And that's what being here is. It's family friendly, but you're not guarded. You're free to feel the way you want to say what you want, do what you want.
No judgment.
No thoughts about if you say it wrong or if you did it wrong or what's going on, and all of that it's a great feeling. And to know that he has that. And I feel I can come anytime I want if I want. I let him do the fishing himself, but I've been with him to all his fly tying sessions where he's learning.
She takes notes.
He's learning how to tie
and then a week later, stuff shows up from Amazon. It's like, how did you know about this? Well, I was taking notes. So it works out pretty good.
How important is it to you that the spouse is welcomed as much as the veteran?
Oh, absolutely.
Or the service member?
It's as I said, translates when he comes back to the house.
She's like everybody else. She walks in here, and she's treated the same as everybody else. Not like a spouse, not like a visitor. I think that's the most amazing thing is that if a veteran starts to talk about some experience associated with their military service, the one thing that I've noticed, and it's very subtle, is that the people who are here don't speak. They listen, okay? They might nod or in appreciation, but they don't say a word. They let you talk, okay? When you're done, if it's warranted, they might ask, how do you feel now or whatever? And you might go on further. Or it may just switch back to fishing. It's not driven. It's not pulled from you. They don't want you to talk about it. So
There's
that
no
you feel,
agenda.
there's no
No.
agenda, none whatsoever.
And when he comes home from being here, he is more relaxed, more responsive, less guarded, less has to hold back on what he says or what he feels because he doesn't want to. He can't share it with me, but he doesn't want to share it with me. He doesn't want to burden me with his issues. I have plenty of my own, so he doesn't need to add to them. And it's been much better at home, much better.
When I leave here, I'm unburdened.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one of the things that I didn't even tell you about this, but I was driving home. I think last time I was not last time, but prior, and I was driving home in the car, and it's about a half an hour, 40-minute drive, and I was so melancholy, in the car. I felt so good, so relaxed, so what a nice day, And I thought to myself, I haven't felt like this in years. I can't remember the last time I felt like this. And I thought, wow, this place is just having a bigger impact on me than I would have ever imagined. And I think to some degree, I felt like maybe they saved my lives. And I'm not not in the sense that I might die, but in the sense that I was becoming so withdrawn from society, from people's opinions, so guarded. You end up in a constant situational awareness is what the military calls it, okay? That you want to know where you are, how do you get out of here if you have to quickly, sit in a restaurant, know where all the exits are, where can we take cover if a gunman comes through that door. It sounds crazy, right? But that's so baked into you after so many years that you just can't walk away from that, okay? That becomes part of your being. It's who you are. And so coming here, I'm not worried about who comes through that door. Okay, I really don't. I don't even think about it, or who I might run into in the woods. And so there's a complete change where all of those threats, perceived or otherwise, seem to melt away. Now there are still situations where I'm extremely guarded, like on a plane, or where there are limited accesses and so on and so forth. And that's just part of my problem.
Well, especially as you get older, as he's been getting older, these things. I don't know if it's because you're realizing your mortality is, coming closer and closer.
Oh yeah.
Or your memories are just starting to pile up, but that adds to the guarded and the anxiety, especially when you don't feel the freedom to talk. We don't have conversations anymore in this society because as soon as you start to have a conversation with somebody who might not agree with you, you get attacked. And so you're always guarded. You're always, what do I say? How do I say it? Where, can I say I'm MAGA? Because the person might, oh my God, you're a racist, you're this, you're that. So you always hold back. And as we get older, you tend to do that more. You also tend to reflect more in the past, and that starts creeping in. You don't even realize how subtle doing all of that can be to your daily mentality. That's why I think people start to say you have to start meditating more when you're older. As you get older, you should start doing this more and that more. Because these things just slowly, and as you don't have children anymore to focus your attention on, so who do you focus on? Yourself, and it makes a difference to have that feeling in the car. I don't think you want to call it melancholy. I think you want to call it,
Mellow.
Mellow, yeah.
It makes a difference, and then you get home and it continues. And so it's much, much better. I used to have a 20-minute ride to teaching. I taught for 40 years, and that helped because that was your decompression time when you got home. And so by the time I got home, it was mellow and easier to take care of what was going on, especially when our kids were still in the house. But now that they're out, and not that you still don't worry about them, because you always worry about your kids forever. They're always your kids, not adults. So, and the thing about it is too, Jack wants to share it with everyone because he's had such a good return from it that now we're being recruiters.
Yeah.
We recruit.
Well, even today in the diner, you
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
we
right.
did. Every time a veteran, do you know about? Did you hear about?
Every time I see a hat. Have you been to Camp Freedom? You know,
Because it's made such a difference.
yeah, because it's made such a huge difference in my life. But I think that there's a lot of things with the military, and one of them is separation from service. A lot of people think, well, what's the big deal? Job ended. It's a different kind of job, okay? When you're in the service, everything is taken care of, if you think about it, right? You get a paycheck. You have unlimited health care. Your family has health care. Your kids have health care. I've got a place to live. They got a place to live. Everybody has something to eat. There's never anything for me to worry about other than getting the mission taken care of, okay? Because I know my family's taken care of. And what happens when you leave service? I can tell you, because when I broke service, when I left the Navy, before I went back into the Army, I walked up to a desk. Somebody said, sign here. And they said, thank you, have a nice day. And they turned around and walked away. And in that moment, I froze. I had nothing. Everything in that one signature, in that moment, ended. I no longer had income. I no longer had health insurance. My family no longer had any health insurance. Wasn't guaranteed a place to live. Wasn't even guaranteed a next meal if I wasn't able to provide it. And so people wonder, well, when they get out of service, why do these people end up sleeping on the street? There has to be a way to transition. And there isn't for many of us. And so life just collapses at that moment for them. Now, I was fortunate in that I was able to pull myself together and
We were just married too.
yeah,
when
we
that
were
happened.
2 weeks after I got out of the Navy, we got married. And what was the first thing I did? I almost cut off a finger on a bandsaw. And I had no health insurance.
I hadn't had a job yet. I was still
She didn't
looking
even have
for
a
my
job.
teaching job.
We had no income. And fortunately, I ended up in a hospital with a very nice surgeon who asked me if I had health insurance, and I said no. And he said,
Okay.
we'll talk about it later. He sent me a bill. It was $200.
We were living with his parents too,
Yeah.
so that wasn't easy.
Yeah. It should have been like $10,000, okay. But he covered everything. I had to pay for the stitches and a few things in the hospital. That was it. Camp Freedom is a lot the same way. We don't pay for anything here. In the service, you're a giver. And in the world, there are takers. Service people give. They give everything they've got, up to including their life, if that's necessary. Okay. We sign that blank check for that. And we don't expect anything in return. And one of the craziest feelings that I had when I came here was absolute guilt initially in those first moments. Everybody wanted to do something for me and didn't expect anything back in return. It's bizarre. Oh, how much does this cost? It doesn't cost anything. But I want to go, I need a fishing rod. Yeah, here. It's like.
We hear that a lot.
But-
We hear that the guests that come here feel a sense of guilt immediately.
Yeah.
Why should I be here? I don't deserve this.
I don't deserve it. Exactly right. And
Well, I have to leave it for someone else.
yeah,
I don't need it. So I have to leave it for someone else to use.
Somebody
That
needs
was
it
a
more than me.
Big problem for a long time.
Yeah.
That I don't need health care. I don't need to help. Because I, as a teacher, I covered him also with health care. And even in retirement, I'm lucky to have health care from my school district as a retiree. So even if we didn't need his, but it was always, well, I don't need to do this. I don't need to go there. I don't need to have this. I'll let somebody else use it. And then we started hearing all the time, no, it's for you and you deserve it. You can take it.
You've earned it.
You've
Yeah.
earned it.
I didn't even use the VA for years.
No.
I actually started using the VA in Camp Freedom at about the same time,
Yeah.
for the first time. So my advice to anybody watching this is that if you are a veteran or if you know somebody who's a veteran, that you need to come here. You need to come here, was it first Friday, I guess, of every month? We have a breakfast, 8 o'clock in the morning. Matt does a great job of explaining what this place is about. Sometimes, if they can, they take you on a tour. And then there's the help day,
Day of caring.
Day of caring, where they have all the tables set up and everybody that anything you might need from local government to the VA is there. And so you can ask questions or follow up with them through that. But it's an amazing operation, and you have affected so many people at this point. I know Matt was throwing some numbers out the other day that were just staggering. 48 states. What did he say? 28,000, maybe more. 58,000.
I don't have the exact number at the top of my head, but I know we're at 48 states. So if you ever meet anyone from Hawaii or South Dakota, those are the 2 states we're looking for.
Okay.
Alaska's covered.
Alaska's covered.
Yeah. Well, I spent some time with the Navy in Hawaii.
Okay.
NAS, Naval Air Station Barbers Point on Oahu.
Wow.
It was a hard place to be.
Wow.
But anyway. So, yeah, Camp Freedom. It's just...
It's a miraculous place.
Yeah, it is miraculous. It's a miracle. And I don't care what your issue is. You're going to find some relief here. You're definitely going to find a friend here. You can't help it. Yeah.
Things to do. I don't know if I should say this or not, but we met a waitress this morning at breakfast, and her husband has nothing in his life as a veteran except driving his car around. It makes her crazy because he drives 300-400 miles a week just driving in his car without anything else. That's no way. You know, there's so much that you can try, and if you don't like it, try something else, and if you don't like that, even try something else. But it sounds like this would be a perfect place for him because he's I don't want to say pointless, but just driving your car around all day trying to figure out
aimless,
yeah. Lost, maybe.
Yeah.
Lost,
looking for
something, and perhaps this would be the perfect place to find it. And his wife hopes. She says she's going to drag him here next care day and see what happens, but we'll see. That's kind of the kind of place. I have another friend whose husband also aimlessly looks for help. As we said, even just being able to discuss, to say things that you can't say for anybody else. That's so important, and it's such a good place for it.
The whole social structure is entirely different in the military.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as compared to society. And if you spend a lot of years in the military like I have, you come out and you almost don't know how to deal with society. You have to remember that I went in during Vietnam, okay? What was public sentiment during Vietnam? People spit on you, okay? We were baby killers. We were, you name it, okay? Any horrible thing they could say. Not that they're that much better these days about different things, but... And then along comes 9/11, and people want to pat me on the back.
Buy you lunch.
They want to buy me lunch. They want to pay for my dinner. And I'm like, just leave me alone, Okay, people are so fickle. One minute you hate me, then the next minute you love me, and then you hate me again. It's just like I don't know how to read you anymore. So but you're not part of that society because when you go back onto the base, everybody's kind of like marching to the same drum, and so you feel comfortable there. But then what happens when you get out? Right now, you're immersed in that other society, and a lot of guys can't cope with it. Needs a place like this.
A lot of service members that I talk to talk about, the self-awareness outside of service is of a different level. Mm-hmm. And the problems, things that people perceive as issues or problematic are nothing compared to what people saw in service.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Like a pilot is worried about spilling someone's coffee now, or a nurse, didn't get the right kind of water or enough ice cubes for somebody that's in their hospital, but they're used to being overseas and helping guys who are on the front lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dealing with the public can be difficult for anybody, really, because, when somebody has a bad experience at a store, who gets yelled at? It's the cashier, right? Like she is responsible for everything, and it's not the case. There's a big shift as you come out of these things, and it helps if there's somebody there to guide your direction a little bit and show you that it's not as hopeless as it sometimes seems, And like this guy who drives around in his car all day long, she says he spends hundreds of dollars on gas, and he's not going anyplace. And he's literally driving in circles, looking for something that he's never going to find because he's not looking in the right place. And so anytime, that's what I'm saying, anybody out there, if you know somebody that's in that kind of a situation, if he's a veteran, then he needs to come here. You need to cross that
first
barrier.
First responder or for police.
Yeah, police, first responder, Gold Star families, anybody that needs that kind of support. It's just critical.
Critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's been good.
What would you say is the biggest difference at home pre and post Camp Freedom?
The relaxed attitude. The anxiety is not as extreme. I mean, there's still days when, okay, don't talk to Jack today because not going to be good. But the overall, the interaction with family, with grandchildren, who can be very difficult, is much better. And my kids see it too.
Would you say beforehand maybe it felt like you were walking on eggshells all the time?
For instance, when we have family affairs and everybody's there and all the grandkids and get together and everything, Jack used to isolate himself. Mm-hmm. He would just go sit quietly somewhere in a corner, and he doesn't have to do that anymore. Because he's not as anxious about being with so many people. That was a problem too, is anxiety about being with big groups. In small spaces. We don't fly. We don't fly anywhere anymore because of that. You put him on a plane in a tight environment, and forget it. Especially for a 6-hour flight. No. We like to take trains, but that's much better now. He won't look for the place to sit by himself anymore. He can sit with everyone. We were in a fair with all the family, and he just sat with everybody and was okay. I didn't feel the buildup of anything. So there's no explosions at the end of the buildup like there used to be.
Yeah, we just had a critical thing for me. My service dog passed away April 21st, 9 a.m. in the morning. and that was a devastating loss for me. Now, that was just this past April. Now, I'm glad that I had Camp Freedom, okay, because immediately I heard from every one of my fishing buddies. And it's hard to explain. I'm sure veterans understand, but we're not talking necessarily speaking to veterans. But a service dog is not a pet. When you I've had pets my entire life. I've had dogs my entire life. Okay. When I lose a dog, I feel bad, and you get over it. When Buddy died, he was my service dog. Part of me died with him, and I'm still having a lot of trouble recovering from that. And coming here helps with that. Buddy was an interrupter. He could sense my anxiety, or if my mind was drifting into a dark place, he would know how to bring my attention to him so that I wasn't, stop thinking about what I'm thinking about, wasn't focusing on whatever that was anymore, that it was now on him. And he was great at it. I use the word empathetic. People say, how can a dog have empathy? But when you have a dog who's sitting in a chair next to you and realizes that you're not in a good place and reaches his paw out and puts his paw on your hand very gently, okay, just to quietly draw your attention to him, that's empathetic.
It's also intuitive.
It's intuitive, and the dog is just so in tune with you. So when you lose that kind of an animal, you haven't lost a pet. You've lost something far more important. And a lot of people don't understand that. And, they'll say, oh, I'm sorry you lost your pet or you lost your dog, or, it doesn't quite cover it. It's like I just lost my best friend in the world, So when you see people moving around with service dogs and things like that, you as a civilian need to understand that, what kind of bond is there, and how traumatic it can be for an individual. And say, oh, it's just an animal. But it's not. It's a lot more than that. And I think it's important that I mention that.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Yes.
What do you
I miss
guys-
Buddy too. I miss
Yeah.
him. Buddy and I were frenemies, but I still miss him.
Yeah.
Frenemies?
Yeah,
Frenemy.
he growled at me a lot. Buddy was a rescue, and there were women in his life apparently who weren't kind to him. He was also a talkative dog. He barked at everything, and they didn't realize that it wasn't malicious barking. It was just him talking and communicating. And he took it out on me a lot when he'd go into his own fugue and not realize that I'm there, and I'm the one who feeds him. Hello, I'm the one who give you food and treats and all that. And Jack would have to break him out of his fugue so that I could, because then he'd be so contrite afterwards. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. But I love the dog. I mean, when he was his best, he was a sweetheart dog, and he was so good at taking care of Jack. And I'm not jealous of him at all. I was fine. Because we've been together for so long, there's nothing to get jealous about anymore. And no, there isn't really.
It was an interesting.
It was a interesting relationship.
Journey.
But
It was a journey with Buddy, because Journey they were gonna put Buddy down. He'd been abused by two families. He was absolutely vicious, and I saw his story on the internet and went down to save him. And they gave him to me. I had him in a cage. I spent over a year socializing him and getting him to trust and like people again, and of course, especially to trust and like me. But he always had a memory of some
Cautious.
woman that had hit him or
Cautious.
something like that, and you must have looked like her.
And my
So
friends who had
he
the
loved
gray
her, but
hair.
He was always a little side
hesitant.
look at her.
It's
He
an
was
interest-
guarded.
Yeah,
it's
guarded.
interesting because a friend of mine came over to the house when we first got him, and he immediately reacted to her. And then about a year later, after Jack had worked with him, she came for Easter dinner and he sat by her feet.
Yeah. So when I realized that he had the sensitivity towards my needs, proceeded to get him trained and certified as a service dog, and he was fabulous. But he was also very protective of me. He remained protective of me. Nobody could come near me when I was sleeping. If I was asleep,
I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't
wouldn't
walk
let
through the
anybody.
bedroom to go past him. I had
He wouldn't attack or anything. He just
no, but he
did a
would,
little growl or whatever.
Yeah,
let you
he
know.
warned me that he was there protecting Jack.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a good boy. Yeah. So, back to Camp Freedom. I mean, look at all the things that are the opportunities we have here. We have fishing, hunting, archery. We're going to have clays, shooting range for that.
Cooperation with the horseback riding.
Yes, that's right. The equine people, they're here usually on the first days of the month there,
Mm-hmm.
and along with others. And what do we have? Like over 2,300 acres here. So if you're into bicycle riding or hiking or photography or whatever you might want to do, like maybe just go sit up by the lake in one of those wonderful little rocking chairs up there and take a nap, which I've been known to do.
I might do that right now. I might do that
Today's
after
a perfect day, right?
this. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I mean, if it's yours, it's here, use it.
Well,
And
it was.
enjoy.
Remember, we were here too when they brought the kids from school to go fishing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
They also there's a lot of community involved.
Yeah.
Also.
that was a lot of fun. The kids all came on. They were 6, 7 years old.
And I put
them
worms
fish.
on the hooks.
The
first time-
It happened.
First time in my life, I cut a worm with my fingernail and I put half a worm on a hook, and it was like, oh, okay. Wasn't as bad as I thought.
No.
Yeah, we had a good time with the kids.
Yeah. Well, thank
So,
you guys so much for coming up here and sharing your story.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fine.
It was great.
Thank you again for your service.
You're very welcome, and thank you to Camp Freedom and all the wonderful people that work here. I can't say enough.
And
I
volunteer.
wish I could name them all. And there's not a bad person here. Every one of them is exceptional.
We were talking with Jim Greenlee, and he names a bunch of them, and they sound like superheroes,
Mm-hmm.
like G-Man
Yeah, G.
or Birdman, G, Doc.
They
It
all
sounds
have
like
that.
you're going through a comic book.
That's right. It does. And they're all terrific. They're all terrific guys.
Well, thank you for saying that, and
Yeah.
thank you for sharing.
No.
And we hope that this conversation and the many conversations we have here help veterans, service members, and first
hope
responders just
so.
like you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Come to Camp Freedom. You can't
Lucky-
go wrong.
Mm,
Give it a
well-
try.
Very fortunate to live near one that we can get
Yeah,
to
really.
easily.
Mm-hmm.